very much. Deputy Mick Barry.
Taoiseach, the government whip went on the radio on Saturday and sang a song. It was a fitting way to round off what was a most musical week in Dáil Éireann. Did not half of your cabinet spend the week, Taoiseach, accusing poor Minister Shane Ross of not showing sufficient RESPECT for the views of the Attorney-General? The stage trapdoor opened, and as Joe O'Toole went hurtling down, he could still be heard singing out, "A spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down." As for the Taoiseach, well, the Taoiseach, like Sinatra, did it his way, and now the end is near. And if Deputy Griffin has his way, he soon will face the final curtain. Taoiseach, my question to you today concerns water charges. I'll start with a confession, Taoiseach.
Now we have a little order, please.
We'll start with a confession. I have to confess that as one of the founder members of the National Boycott Campaign, I never expected to see 73% non-payment of the charge. Yep. The anti-poll tax campaign, which by the way ended the political career of the Iron Lady herself, Maggie Thatcher, never achieved a 73% non-payment rate, nor anything like it. In fact, if you were to find a fitting historical comparison, I think you might need to flick through the pages of maritime history. On the night of the 14th and 15th of April in 1912, the unsinkable Titanic crashed into an iceberg in the icy waters of the North Atlantic, just as your good ship Water Charges has crashed into the iceberg of mass non-payment. The history books record what happened at the tipping point for the Titanic 2 hours and 40 minutes later. Her rate of sinking suddenly increased as her forward deck tipped underwater and the sea poured in through open hatches and grates. I suggest to you, Taoiseach, that 73% non-payment is not far off a tipping point. And so my questions. Number one, are the government seriously going to try to use European Commission threats to save a sinking ship? Are the government seriously going to try and use a rigged commission to save a sinking ship? Or are the government going to recognise reality and give this hated charge a decent burial?
Thank you very much for that. For poetry.
Thank you, Deputy. I thought you were going to break into song there in your introduction. Deputy, the Water Services Amendment Bill is scheduled for report stage in this House later this evening, and as you know, it proposes to suspend domestic water charges from the 1st of July to the 31st of March next year. And during that period, no Irish water customers will receive bills for domestic water charges. There is a way forward now that has been charted by this government. Charges are being suspended for 9 months, during which we will have a process, a discussion on the future funding of domestic public water and wastewater services. The expert commission under Kevin Duffy will now get on with its work and make recommendations on how we fund domestic water services. That work is commencing and should take about 5 months. And a special Oireachtas committee, as you know, Deputy, will then examine the findings and the recommendations. And we expect that will take about 3 months. And then the Oireachtas will consider it and vote on the recommendations. So there is a process that has been laid out, which has been agreed and which government intend to follow. And you've seen in the discussions here in the Dáil what the outline and the detail is in relation to the path forward. And we believe that that is the right route in order to discuss how the infrastructure which is so necessary and needed in this country, will be funded. And that is a key discussion that needs to take place, and we will continue the discussions in the format that I have outlined to you.
Thank you, Taoiseach. Deputy Barry.
Does the Taoiseach seriously believe that the Irish people won't believe that the Water Commission is rigged? Sure, Joe O'Toole let the cat out of the bag. The cat ran right across the floor of the Dáil, and everyone has seen it. Now, the song you might like the new water commissioners to sing is "Silence is Golden," but you can't bury their past statements. I know they're not saying anything to the press, but you can't bury their past statements. For example, Xavier Leflevre of the OECD is on the Commission. He said once, water pricing can be used to signal scarcity and to create efficient water use in all sectors. Going on to say at another stage, it is well acknowledged that metering is the best, he meant the best system. It is fair and efficient. So the question, Taoiseach, is this: are you prepared to come clean and to admit that this Commission is just a sham?
Thank you, Deputy Barry. Taoiseach, to conclude, please.
The Commission is an expert body that has been brought together to consider the evidence, to receive submissions, to examine the legal framework, both nationally and internationally, which we need to do. That is the work that the Commission has been asked to do, and to make recommendations to it. It is an expert body. I don't accept what you're saying in relation to it. It will examine all of the evidence, bring it together, as I say, looking at potential funding structures, looking at the frameworks, the legal frameworks, which are very important in regard to this, both at European and national level, and then make recommendations. And there are a group of experts who no doubt will consider all of the evidence and come up with recommendations. And then it will come back to the floor of this House, having been to a Dáil committee, for further discussion on the way forward. Because, Deputy, we do have to have a discussion about the funding of the serious investment that is needed to deal with the problems which have not been dealt with to date, when many different local authorities were dealing with this issue in a very inconsistent way. And already we have seen the improvements which Irish Water have made to the infrastructure around the country.
Thank you very much, Taoiseach. I understand that the Government Chief Whip has a business proposal to